What is up, bros? Josh here, and today's video is all about Rank Sprint in the upcoming 0.8.5 patch. We'll get to play both Season 5 and Season 6 of Rank Sprint. I love Rank Sprint. I'm glad it's coming back into the game, and it looks like it may be a solid thing that'll be reoccurring in the game. So I'm extremely excited about that because it's so much fun. And with it being more fun, however, the rewards are not quite as good as Rank Battles, which are just coming to a close right now as I'm recording this video. But as you can see, if you've never played Rank Sprint, it's much smaller, less stars overall, more irrevocable ranks, and it's 6v6. However, it was stated that it will be tier 7, so with tier 7, not only does it bring good maps and fun play styles, in my opinion at least, it will bring a lot of ships, and so this video will be all about the best ships per class to play in the upcoming Rank Sprint in my season. However, this is a game mode that's going to be very casual, so play whatever you enjoy, play whatever you want. If you are maybe ranking up or grinding through a line, this is a great way to kind of just have a little bit of extra fun doing it and get some rewards by playing. However, let's dive over to the port and I'll show you my picks for this season of Rank Sprint. Tier 7 in World of Warships is a highly populated tier, both with lots of destroyer options, cruisers options, and battleships options. Now, this is something that's going to be, in the end, up to your playstyle. What do you enjoy to play? Because when it comes to ranked battles, just play whatever you prefer. If I tell you that something's going to be good, but you don't enjoy to play it, you're not going to have fun playing rank. So play whatever you pick. Luckily, at Tier 7, there's something for everyone. However, let's dive into this, and I'll go by class. I'm going to stick it to maybe a top 5 because there are so many choices. However, I will also talk about some dark horses of ships that I'm not 100% sure how they'll do, but I think they could have some great potential about carrying you to rank 1. First, let's dive into destroyers, my favorite class to play in ranked battles or any kind of real game mode. And there's one that's a standout king of this tier, and that is the tier 7 premium destroyer, the Haida. This is going to be the go-to, and in my opinion, the strongest by far destroyer. Main reason being is because it has extremely strong guns and an extremely low detection, tied for the lowest at this tier. 5.7 with this gun, with that HP. And even though you are going to be a little bit weaker on torpedoes, and since your smoke is also the single puff smoke, not the normal one we would see normally from like a USN destroyer, this is one that kind of moves along, also with the Perth and a couple other ships like that. The Haida is going to be the go-to. This is by far going to be the strongest destroyer in my opinion, just because the guns as well as the low detection, you are going to have an advantage on literally every other DD, whether they are a gunboat, a torp boat, anything. Spotting may not seem like a lot, but just a 0.2 of a kilometer here, 0.3 of a kilometer there, you are going to give your team an advantage in a 6v6. Just getting that early spot will give the other 5 people on your team the chance to pump in damage on that, whether this is something you're going against a DD that highly out-detects you, or you highly out-detect, but they outgun you. It's going to give your team the advantage to make up for any weakness the ship kind of has. However, the more DDs there are, the better the Haida will be. The more cruisers there are, it's going to be a tad weaker because the late game, the lack of torps will definitely be seen. But by far, Haida, the go-to DD, will be extremely strong. These next two DDs are going to be very similar to what the Haida is, but just not quite as strong, and I'll show you why. But both the Gajamada and as well as the Jervis are both going to be extremely strong. Probably this is going to round out the top 3 for what I think will be quite strong. The Gaja, though, again, an extremely low detection, 6.1, not quite the 5.7 that the Haida has, but still you have the same kind of gun setup and also a decent amount of health pool. However, weakness of this is torpedoes, even though they're very good, 8 kilometers, 2 sets of 5. These are only deep water torps, so they won't be able to hit destroyers. So this is something that's going to be a tad stronger when it comes to going against cruisers and battleships. Weaker against DDs. However, something like the Jervis is also going to be quite strong, but downside is only 7 kilometers, and you're getting a little bit higher in the detection, still 6.3, but overall, even at 6.3, adding things in like radio location will kind of give you an advantage. Still, 6.3, we're getting over a half a kilometer higher than what the Haida is at tier 7. Just kind of keep that in mind when talking about these detection values. 6.3, still below the average kind of at this tier, so we'll give you a bit of advantage. Still great guns. One of the things too is if you are a tad worried about torpedoes, is you will have that long range hydroacoustic, which is something that makes other ships like the Jutland and the Daring, both in the latest ranked battles, very strong. So you're not really going to get hit by too many torpedoes, and you'll still be an absolute threat. Another destroyer I think that'll be quite strong in this upcoming rank sprint is going to be the Z39, and that is the main reason of it being just an overall decent destroyer. Not a lot of people own this DD though, so I think this will kind of be a rare sight, as is the Haida, but a big health pool. You have a monster health pool and a pretty decent detection. So those are the kind of the main metrics I'm looking at when looking at a DD at this tier. Again, 6.1 kilometer detection. You're again not as low as the Haida, but look at that HP. That is with survivability expert, 22,000. Your guns will be all right, although you have a slower reload, and you will have some decent torpedoes on a pretty quick. Obviously, the German torpedoes known for being a fast reload, 8.5 kilometers. So, but at 65 knots at tier 7. So this is going to be pretty dang strong against, again, battleships and cruisers. Also, will be quite strong against even DDs. However, this is a big DD. It's big. But you do also have the German Hydro, so that will keep you alive and keep you safe. But still, big DDs tend to take torps. That is a bit of a downside, but still, you could bully using your HP in this advantage. You know, especially going against something else that may be able to outgun you just gun for guns. You could use your HP to just kind of bully them off caps, push them out of smoke with your Hydro. This could be something I'm kind of looking for as being overall pretty dang strong. So I think I just have to throw this ship on there because other people will then give me grief in the comments about, hey, you didn't talk about the Shiratsu. This ship is the Torp boat, and always within every ranked season of anything, there is always a stealthy Torp DD that kind of gets maybe not quite the love that it deserves, and always tends to do good. Tier 8, the Kagero always does well and by certain play styles, and that is the main reason it has such a low detection. However, again, IGN DD is not known for their guns, and obviously the Shiratsu isn't really known for its guns, but 10 kilometer torps are going to be near the longest at this tier. 2 10 torps, and as well as a pretty decent reload, as well as having the reload booster, you could potentially start out very early with some quick dev strikes and completely control the team. You take out one ship early, one ship sitting in smoke, one DDE especially, you could just completely control the team and then snowball it from there. However, if you run up against, let's say, a Haida 5.8, the Haida actually out detects you, it's going to outgun you, and there's no way you'll be able to compete. So this is something that I think will still be quite strong if played correctly because of the low detection, but things like the Gaja with 6.1, Haida 5.7, even the Jervis, which kind of counters you, as well as the Z, both with Hydro and being relatively close, they can kind of knock down where you are with radio location. IGN DD's not my play style. If played well, can be quite strong, but obviously something like this being so impactful early with that reload booster could really start the game off strong. Even one torp hit from an IGN torp is going to, with the potential of, you know, almost over 17,000 damage, you could easily one shot at DD. Boom, you're up 6-5, and there's nothing the team can do besides struggle to come back. So definitely, I think I have to put it in top 5. However, there are some other destroyers I think that'll be stronger, but this one I think deserves a spot at least because it is still that stealthy torpy DD. So there's a couple dark horses for this tier for destroyers, and one of them is being the Sims. Now the Sim is known as being the Save-A-Star. However, there will be the Save-A-Star mechanic. However, it is ranked sprint, so it's not as important as it would be in normal rank battles. But this thing still is pretty nasty. It does have Fletcher guns, but the downside is the detection is quite high, 6.6 kilometers. So even with good guns, good maneuverability, and now it's buffed torps, you're still going to be at disadvantage or just getting spot early. This is the power creep this tier has had. Looking at stuff like with a captain with concealment expert, 6.6 kilometers for your detection, the Haida almost out detects you by a full kilometer. That is pretty nuts. So Haida could seriously just not shoot, wait for you to get about half-life, open up and kill you in 2 or 3 salvos. So the weakness of these DDs will be their higher detection. However, I still think I have to talk about them because they're still so good. If there were CVs, obviously like something like the Sims would be stronger since it's an odd tier, there aren't CVs. But DD-wise though, I think some people will have some success with Sims, but that higher detection is definitely going to gimp you on how effective you can be. Other things like the Leningrad, it's going to be loud and proud, very good guns that are going to hurt a lot, but again, that higher detection of 6.6, but your speed is second to none. You're so fast at this tier. Also, 8-kilometer torps are going to be quite effective in a lot of spots, but still, that higher detection. Some of these destroyers, the detection is so low, they just don't have to shoot, wait for the team to knock you down. Even though Leningrad can damn near outgun anything at this tier, as long as Leningrad takes 5,000 to 6,000 damage, anything else can probably outgun you, even some of the IGN DDs. So going to be definitely a weakness for some of these. Also, like things like the Mahan just got a buff, but again, 6.7, that is a full kilometer over the Haida. And then you have things like the Akatsuki, which are kind of this weird gunship style of the IGN destroyers. This could also be quite effective in the 6.4, but I still don't think you quite have the guns to outgun, let's say, like a Gaja or even a Jervis. Obviously not the Haida as well. So some weaknesses here, but I could see a lot of success. But a lot of the tech tree ships, something like the Gaja or the Jervis, is probably going to be a tad more effective than these other ones. Just these ones are such high detection for what they bring. They're going to be a tad tougher, although I think it's still doable, just not quite as easy as some of these other ones. Tier 7 cruisers in the past have had some pretty solid choices. However, it's always been a top couple, and then the rest have just been mediocre middle ground. Now we're going to see a lot more pretty decent choices to take going into ranked sprint, both in season 5 and season 6. However, you can't talk about tier 7 strengths of cruisers without talking about the Belfast. You can't talk to anybody that used to play ranked back at when it was tier 7 that still doesn't have nightmares about playing against Belfast. Still, this ship is going to be by far the best cruiser when it comes to ranked. I mean, having radar, the damage with inertia fuse, this thing is so absolutely nuts. So before somebody talks about, oh man, just just go close to them and then you'll spot them and smoke, blah blah blah, good luck getting within 5.3 kilometers of a Belfast that doesn't at least have an idea that you're there. If you get within 5.3 kilometers of a Belfast and it's getting spotted in smoke, you have much bigger balls than I do. So good luck, have fun. I don't think that'll affect it at all, and this thing is still going to be an absolute monster at this tier, and by far the strongest cruiser. The HE just does so much damage. A great counterpart to the tech tree, though, is the Fiji, and this is one that I do and would listen to the argument about this potentially being stronger than the Belfast. However, personally, I have to give it to the Belfast since it does have radar. Radar is very few and far between at this tier 7 tier, and however, the Fiji does bring some pretty solid hydro. It just gets that super heal. Also, the damage output from the Fiji. In my opinion, I think the Fiji, tier for tier, tech tree ships alone, is one of the strongest in this game and will be the go-to choice when it comes to this ranked season if you don't have the Belfast. This thing's damage against a battleship, cruiser, destroyer, 4, 5, 6, 7k a salvo. Absolute monster, an amazingly strong cruiser, and you could have a lot of fun and a lot of success playing this, as well as just being a good torp boat as well. This is a prime example of extremely strong tech tree ships. Another strong tech tree ship is going to be the Helena, the tier 7 USN light cruiser. This is going to be kind of accompanied with the Boise and the Nueve de Julio, the premium versions of this ship, but the Helena is going to be fantastic. 15 shells going out at one time with a pretty good reload, lots of damage. This is going to be a nasty ship to go against, lots of tools. You have a little bit of everything when going against. You're going to have Hydra up all the time. You're going to have planes going up all the time. You're going to be able to just be a good, effective ship, and good luck being a battleship pushing into a Helena, because my God, the DPM out of this ship is absolutely nuts. Along with that comes with the Boise. The Boise's kind of similar, a little bit different, but pretty similar. However, you do get some heals. This is basically an identical ship to the Nueve de Julio, so the bigger health pool might be a bit more attractive to some people, but also a fantastic ship. And again, you'd want to take Hydro since there aren't going to be any CVs. So Helena, Boise, Nueve, all going to be fantastic. But then other ships that are added into, like the latest one, the Lazo. If you were able to get this ship, I think this thing will be quite effective. However, the strength of this ship is going to be a bit more farming from far away. Pretty fragile ship, as we've seen with the Shores in the past. They're pretty good at being annoying, but that annoying farming cruiser tends to not be too effective in the game. You are kind of something to deal with, but overall, you're going to want something that's a tad closer, like the Boise, Nueve, Helena, or like the Belfast Fiji. They can get extremely close with their smokes. However, if you want to kind of stand far and back and be the super troll, Lazo and the Shores will also be fantastic. Rounding out my top picks for this tier, I think that the Flint will honestly be there. This is a ship that costs steel to get, so only a certain amount of people are going to have this, but the mix of pretty much in Atlanta with smoke is going to be quite nice. However, in the past, the ship wasn't that good compared to other stuff. Even compared to, let's say, a Fiji, I would take the Fiji over the Flint. The Flint is good though. I like it. It's extremely fragile though. Get a battleship shell that knows kind of what they're doing. You have no recovery. You don't have the heal, let's say, like the Fiji has. But the Flint though, in the right spot, will be a fantastic ship. Although you are lacking of range, obviously, just like some other ships though. But you do have that smoke to get you in some pretty aggressive spots and could be quite decent with it, as well as having those torps, those 9.2 kilometer torps, could also be quite good. My dark horses for tier 7 cruisers are going to be things like the Indianapolis and the York. Now also, yes, we see the Atlanta over here. I'm not a big fan of the Atlanta. I think the Atlanta is strong when there's planes in the sky and, you know, maybe some other situations. However, though, playing against a DD back in the day at tier 7, you would really just pick on Atlantas. Their range limited, their effective range even shorter than their total range, so pretty limited. You kind of have to mess up for really an Atlanta to be that strong. So positioning is going to be so important. Kind of going to be a harder ship to play. If you look at something like the Flint can make its own cover with smoke. So the Atlanta, I really just don't think it's going to be that strong. It wasn't really that strong in the past, and I think it will continue to not really be that strong. However, though, if you have it and you enjoy playing it, by all means, go out and play it. But my dark horses are going to be things like the Indianapolis and the York. York just got its buff a few, it's been a while now, but the York is going to be a tad stronger, both with better HE, and man, that German AP is absolutely nutty, both with having that pretty aggressive hydro. This could be a ship to kind of watch out for and could be very punishing for cruisers, battleships, and even DDs. And Indianapolis being one of the few radar ships, as well as Atlanta and the Belfast at this tier, could bring a pretty nasty 10-kilometer radar. So post it up in the right spot. A 10-kilometer radar, the only one with 10 kilometers at this tier, could be quite strong and be very effective against other DDs getting that early kill or getting a cruiser sitting in smoke. Again, we went over a bunch of smokes, but those 203s, those USN 203s are nothing to, they're there. They're going to hurt you, and they could definitely punish DDs, cruisers, and battleships. Tier 7 Battleships is full of some interesting ships. You have the tried and true, you have the new kids on the block, and then you have the question marks. And kind of I'll explain what I mean about that. But the guaranteed ships that are going to be good have been good for a long time. However, the go-to choice that I think we'll see this season is the newest kid on the block, and that'll be the Sinope. This is something that a lot of people are playing through, just got it, and this thing is quite strong for tier 7. Pretty tanky, great guns, and using that Russian gun within 12-kilometer buff, you could blow some ships off the map. This is going to be, you want that accuracy, you want consistency, you want that ability to just blow things off the map. So the Sinope, I think, will be quite strong, probably the go-to for a lot of people, and since a lot of people are grinding up to the line, could be another way to maybe get some extra XP and also have fun doing it. This will probably be the go-to for a lot of people. However, something that's also always quite good is the Scharnhorst. I think the Scharnhorst, one of my favorite premiums in my top 5 recommended premiums. It's up there. It's one of the highest ones, I think. The Scharnhorst, always good, and this is going to be something that's going to be extremely strong against cruisers. Being able to just make plays with its torpedoes, always good. You can't not have the Scharnhorst as being one of the strongest ships. Also, if you need to grind some credits, another great way to grind some credits. But these are probably going to be the top 2, in my opinion, for people that are really trying to win the games for their team. You're going to have the Sinope and the Scharnhorst probably battling for top. Although downside of the Scharnhorst is it does have those 283s, but you have that high reload. That's the thing about the Sinope is those 406s. Those are big guns, and getting that accuracy buff once you get kind of close is going to be absolutely nasty. However, then you go into some other ships that are going to be just tried and true. Ships like the Colorado, ships like the Nagato. These are going to be just solid choices. They've been solid choices forever. They're solid choices going forward, and you can't really go wrong with them. Even other ships, maybe a bit of a different play style, but the Leon, even at tier 7, could be really good. Again, though, like the Scharnhorst, gonna have some trouble with maybe getting some pens on things with the 340s compared to, let's say, like the Colorado 406s, like the Sinope, then the Nagato with 410s. These won't really care where you are. They're gonna do some big damage, but tried and true ships. You can't go wrong with these. If you have them, you know how good they are and how good they can be. But other things, kind of like maybe the French flavor of the Leon, could also be quite strong. So I have a few dark horses for this tier for the battleship choices, and it's going to be stuff like the Nelson. Nelson is a free XP ship you can get for just playing the game. You can buy it in the texture. I believe it's 375,000 free XP. And this is going to be the Conqueror of Tier 7. But the thing about this, as we just finished the ranked battles right now, is the Conqueror was so good at burning damage and doing damage over time and saving your star. That's not really what you need going into ranked battles like this. So the Nelson, the strength of the Nelson is burning the enemy team down, but you kind of want that quick impact, not that overtime shots. So that could be a bit of the downside of the Nelson. Also, this thing does not take damage well. Going against things like the Nagato, the Colorado, the Sinope, you are going to get absolutely punched in the face and you're going to lose all your health. This thing can just take monster citadels against people and cannot tank for the love of it. So you got to give a little bit of distance. You can't quite be a brawler like you can with the other ships, but you could maybe burn your enemy down, make their life hell, or put a big AP salvo into some cruisers as well. I'm not saying that you're going to only shoot HE in the Nelson, but its lack of tankiness is something that's going to be quite weak compared to other ones. My ship I'm really interested, as I haven't played it in so long, it doesn't have camo on, is the Ashitaka. This thing, big caliber guns. It's basically an Ahal Amagi, the tier 8 battleship, but it just got a buff to its Sigma, which means it's basically more accurate. It's more consistent on its shells. This thing shoots absolute lasers. This could be the 200 IQ battleship, although it's not very tanky. It's not as bad as the Nelson, but this thing shoots lasers. This could be super punishing early game and could be an absolute beast. 10 shells going out, very accurate shells, and 4 10s could be obliterating cruisers, gimping off battleships. This thing could be absolutely nuts and something I want to look for. I can't quite call it like this is going to be strong because I'm just not sure, because it does have its own weaknesses. But the Ashitaka to me is something I'm interested to see how it'll do as the rank sprint goes on and as tier 7. So there are a couple ones obviously we didn't go over, like the King George Hood, Duke of York. I love the King George. I think the Hood is fine, but I just don't think these are going to be quite top tier. Also the Ganais now, this is one that was quite popular. Maybe popular is a strong word for it, but these ships I just don't think are going to be as consistent enough. The King George, a very good ship, but also known as using both ammos. Again, as we talked about with the Nelson, not quite. You don't want an overtime damage. You want that abrupt instant damage to get those ships off the map. So I just think these are going to be all kind of bottom tier ships. If I didn't really talk about any ships throughout this video, we kind of skipped over them. There's a lot of choices, so I didn't want to kind of rank top 15. If I didn't really talk about them, I just don't think they're going to be top tier. Again, in this rank sprint, it's fun. It's all about fun. There's so many choices when it comes to ships, and if you enjoy playing a ship, you can rank out in that ship. Rank sprint is not as serious as ranked battles. You can do it in a day. You can do it over a couple days. They're 12-day seasons. You could do it over all 12 days. Just go out there and have fun. You don't need to min-max what ship you're taking into rank sprint. You don't need to do any of that. Just go in there, have fun, play whatever you want. But if you maybe want something of an advantage, or maybe want to know what you should play, you have options. Maybe you want to try to go for maybe a high win rate. We are doing a competition right now, all live, twitch.tv. We're giving out some rewards for people who rank out with the highest. We actually even made a clan. We have 30 people already. We're trying to expand the clan, maybe even make a second clan where people started brand new accounts, and we're going for the highest win rate. So that'll be fun. We're going to do all that live on twitch.tv. So come on and check us out. But if you maybe want like a tad of an advantage, I think some of the ships I talked about will give you that. But overall, play what you want, play what you like. If you like the Miyoko, go play the Miyoko. If you like the Błyskawica, the tier 7 DD, which I love, the Polish destroyer, I think this will be one of the weaker ships, but I think I'm going to play an account where I only play this ship. It's just fun to play ships that you enjoy to play in modes like this, especially you can get some cool and all that kind of stuff. But if you are a lover of the Abruzza, if you love the Duke of York, if you love any of the ships, the Ganais now, by all means, go out there and play it and just have fun. That's what Rank Sprint's about. But anyways, that is my list of the best ships for Rank Sprint. both all the classes. So hopefully this video helps you out, gives you an idea of what to play, and hopefully it will make your trips down both season 5 and 6 of Rank Sprint a little easier. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know in the comments below what you're going to play in both the seasons and what is your chariot of choice. That's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.